What's good? This is Abel with Abel Garcia Designs. I'm originally from Las Cruces, New Mexico, but now I live here in Dallas and I'm a professional painter here in Dallas. I have been painting professionally for about 5 years, and welcome to my studio.
Going on, Abel? How are you,
good,
bro?
Guy, how are you?
Man, I'm excited, bro. I'm excited for this episode just to have you on. I'm crazy excited. So, for those who don't know, Abel Garcia, crazy, amazing, gifted painter, visionary, and all that. And you already, introduced yourself, but I want to kind of have you share a little bit of your story about, how did you get started in painting?
I got started in painting. I have actually been a creative since I was 6 years old. 6 years old.
Wow.
I literally knew I wanted to be an artist. I knew I was different at 6 years old, and it took me such a long time to get where I needed to be because I could not find my place in this world.
Wow. So from 6 years old to fast forward to your first time you put, maybe a paintbrush in your hand. What was that journey from finding out you were passionate and then finding out, wow, I'm actually impacting people's lives?
Yeah,
when did that happen?
That took a lot of construction in church, man. I really had to focus on my identity and really realizing what my gifts were for and how they were going to impact people. And that started at church. I used to paint during worship. So there were certain aspects and certain experiences where I would paint something and it would be someone in the crowd. So if you want to get specific, there was this one time I was really stressing out about not having to download and not knowing what to paint. And right before worship opens, I was actually in tears. I was worried. I was man, I have no idea what I was going to paint.
So it's painter's block. You God, what do you want me to paint? What's going on?
Yeah, usually I get it the night before or something like that. And I was okay, I know exactly what I need to do. And then at the very last minute, I just got literally paint a woman hugging Jesus, and she's wearing a green sweater with white stripes, and she has sandy blonde hair. And in mid-painting, right, I was painting it upside down. When I flipped it over, probably 3 minutes later, someone pulled me, and I got scared. I got
wait a minute, I know we at church. Wait a minute, bro.
I was this is supposed to be church, right? The house of the Lord. And I turn around, and it's a lady crying that's sandy blonde hair with a green sweater and white stripes, and she needed a sign from God because she was thinking about relapsing from being sober for 14 years, heroin addiction.
Wow. So hold up. So you're saying that you get direct inspiration and downloads straight from God, you feel?
Yes. So God will teach you how to trust your intuition. Sometimes people refer it to as intuition or gut feeling, but I really think that's the Holy Spirit talking at all given times. You just literally have to pay attention. If you pay attention and you allow yourself to get still, you'll pick up on energy, on vibes, on spirit, and you'll know. Man,
so it sounds like even in your art, even some of your pieces, this one behind us, it sounds like your faith clearly in Jesus inspires your art. So share a little bit about how your art and what you create impacts how you see and kind of your perspective.
Yeah, my perspective is God is going to give us gifts and talents, but also too, He's designed us perfectly. Right? And when you're understanding that you're designed perfectly, you can correlate it to a lion doesn't necessarily have to be reminded he's a lion, right? Or it's a lion. Right. And a gazelle doesn't have to be reminded. We're the only people that get in our heads about how we need to be or who we need to be, or we're confused about it. But if our identity is ingrained so much in God, and how does the Creator operate? You know what I mean? How does He operate? And how amazing is He? How loving is He? How much of a good father is He? How collectively the stuff He makes is perfect.
Bruh, that's so good. It's so much. I don't know if y'all was ready. Oh my gosh. So with your art, so you said earlier that you gotten opportunities to do paintings for like Emmitt Smith and some. Have you ever done like a passion project art, whether it was philanthropy or whether it's for a cause and it was like, no, this isn't for like, what was kind of some of the art you've done?
Yes, all of it has been a come up. That was usually my focus. Establishing my name, I mean, that was always important, but I just always wanted to find out like how I could help someone either in need or how my gift could actually cultivate something to make something different.
Right.
So a lot of nonprofits always have galas and they always sell tickets and it's a regular football sign or a helmet or a poster or some vintage music, but why not have live art or something created right on the spot, right? And then you can just literally have an auction for it. So I've done that with multiple nonprofits around Dallas and then back home at Las Cruces.
And some people don't even know. So how me and Abel met was like literally he's in this studio right here, and I'm walking by to my crib and I was like, yo, what you do is amazing. You handed me a business card, like, yeah, man. And then we just start talking and chopping it up, and it was mind-blowing to see your perspective. And I remember a couple of times I stopped by, you were creating, and I stopped by one time and you were saying this idea about, it was a moment you were growing in like your identity, your understanding, your gift, just your passion to the world about this idea about supernova. Do you remember that?
Yes, of course.
Bro, please kind of unpack a little bit of what was happening when you said supernova, this idea.
100%. So I am uber big on worship and listening to God's voice and kind of any kind of movement. And once the antennas start picking it up, right? So one time we were in worship at River of Glory, right? And I was just like there on the seat, just kind of there, just getting fried out, basically. I was getting fried out, and God, I literally heard him in his audible voice say, "Sun, go supernova." And I did not understand that. I was like, why are you telling me some cosmic science term?
Right. What is that? What are you talking about? Supernova.
Freaking out. And then, so I literally had to go look up the definition of it. And if you take it literal and metaphorical, like it's really crazy. Like a supernova is a star, and it's one of the brightest stars, and its mass can't hold itself, right? So it implodes and explodes at the same time, and when it explodes, it shines brighter and hotter than the sun, but from there it doesn't die, right? It when in that explosion it starts developing other supernovas, so it continues, right? And what God was telling me to do, or what like I received from that, was like literally your gift's gonna multiply and multiply and multiply and inspire people in a way, whether they're a painter, a drawer, a singer, an actor, a filmmaker, anything. That it's not just one kind of thing, you know what I mean? So it's just like you're kind of gonna be the example to show people that it's possible to cultivate your gift.
Man, that is amazing.
So it flipped me out, man.
Yeah, I would have flipped that out. Dictionary, supernova.
I was like, I was like, get out of here. I gotta look this up. I was like, oh, that's what that means.
So, I mean, you clearly have been at it for a long time, and you've clearly have a natural gift, an innate gift, like you said a moment ago about our gifts and our passions. At what point did you realize, I actually have to devote some time? Like, talk about the grind process of like when you started compared to now, just the practical side.
It was always a grind, but I am utterly in love with the process. So like goals and stuff like that, those are good, but like they're deceiving, because once you hit one goal, then what's the next goal or what's the next move? You know what I mean? But it's something that I truly, truly love. Like I'm very submersed in it. Like I love the way that my hands are constantly covered in paint. Like I have to scrub my nails. I just being submersed in your craft, and I just correlate that to like the love that God has for you. You know what I mean? Like He loves you so much. He wants to be submersed so much in every aspect of your life. Aspect of your life. So like that's kind of like how I use my creativity. Like I just don't paint. Like I use my creativity and my finances and my connections. You know, I'm like resourceful. Pretty much everything I do. So
even going back to when we first met, like even years later, I remember me and my wife were getting ready to get married, and we were like, "Yo, what do we want to at our ceremony?" And you came to mind, and I was like, you know what? What if Abel could paint a piece live during the wedding, during the ceremony? And we just showed you some of our themes of our wedding, some inspiration. And when we met up at one of our last meetings, you were saying how, yo, I got the inspiration for what I'm going to paint. And you were encouraging us. And so to fast forward to the actual wedding, to be in that moment, what was it like painting? And then, because you painted upside down, like the man painted upside down, like upside down. Like,
so there was just so much high emotion. There was just like an overflow of love, man. And, you know, like and like I was just recently like freshly married too, you know what I mean? So it's just like you get to relive that when you see another person's wedding and stuff. So, you know, just like you there, you know, out with the ring, you know, and your father looking over you and everything like that. There's just a ton of emotions. They're all positive. They get flooded. You start getting flashbacks. And then, of course, when your beautiful bride started walking down, literally just got a crazy vision that you were going to do everything in your power, come hell or high water, to lift up your wife.
Wow.
And that's why that image is like that. Like, you were going to elevate her. It didn't matter what was going on or what storm or anything like that. Your focus was her, like the love that you had for her.
Right.
And like you finding her and y'all's destiny. So like that
image will be showing.
Yeah.
They'll see it right here.
And like even talking about it now, like that's one thing that's real powerful. Like when you focus on your gift to like talking about that experience, like I'm reliving those emotions right now.
Wow.
So like you can kind of hear the cracking in my voice, and so I was like, ooh, yeah. So,
wow.
So that's really, really cool.
And not only that painting from the wedding, but there's a lion painting as well that you guys probably see all the time. That lion painting in the backdrop, you also did that one as well. And that lion piece is it's so like fierce and so calm, but it's such authoritative. Like, what was the inspiration behind the lion?
Oh man, that's one of my favorite pieces to paint. It's a lion of the tribe of Judah, man, the roaring lion. So if you think about it in the Old Testament, like the tribe of Israel, like how did God appear to them? Like a roaring lion, right? So like I started understanding that like God's gonna be there for you in every season of your life. So like they needed courage and they needed boldness. So that was their image of what they needed. Right?
Wow.
So I thought that was very interesting, but it just a constant reminder. So like I definitely appreciated painting for you, but definitely wanted to be a blessing for you guys in a wedding gift. And you know, you're always gonna look at that, you know, regardless if you're having an argument with your wife or disagreement or whatever, like God's like literally right there watching over you.
That's
you know?
it.
Like,
seriously,
like
that's
it checks you in a way, and it's a good thing, but it's like, whoa, that was, you know, what's going on here, you know?
Right. It does it now. It does it now, okay?
You know?
It does it now.
Yeah.
It's a great reminder. Every time I look up, I get to go back to the moment of our wedding and how others were saying they were so in awe when you flipped it over, and how we were literally giving our vows at that same time. Switching gears here a little bit. Many people may not know the different reach and the place that your gift is taking you. Talking about your gift and how you're able to impact the world, and that's what perspective is all about. You know, learning and journeying through life's principles to apply to our lives to transform the world around us. And in this episode specifically, we're talking about that gift. Yo, tell me, y'all, just wait for this. Tell me some of the places and the things that your gift is taking you, whether it's relationships and friends. I think you showed me a photo a moment ago where, bro, you can even start there, wherever you want to start.
I was just saying, I mean, because we were talking about relationships, and I think that should be everyone's bread and butter. Like, not just for some people, I think that's everybody. Everyone who, and me, and I'm on a podcast with a couple other guys, and it's, we always say, like, build your tribe. Build your tribe. You know, people that you're going to do life with, people that you're going to do business with, so on and so forth. Like, iron sharpens iron. So, like, if you have a healthy tribe around you,
right?
You know what I mean? your tribe can help weather any storm.
Right.
And on that note, so I was like, dude, you want to check this crazy stuff out? So like, one of my best friends, he's a bigwig at Nike, and he just got married. Shout out Camden Stinky.
He might see it. Hey.
And I was just, you were setting up the camera, and I was like, yo, you think I'm joking? And on my timeline in my iPhone, I showed him a picture, and my buddy Camden was chopping it up with Biggs from Rockefeller, right? So Jay-Z's, one of Jay-Z's right-hand man who formed Rockefeller. So they were re-releasing the white Air Force Ones, and so he was just chopping it up. He was just living it there, and I get to experience stuff like that all the time. Like I've met multiple celebrities, just having healthy relationships, and it's been just an awesome journey, and it always correlates back to the gift too. So like my buddy was putting me in a position so that I could understand how these artists and how these people who are celebrities or who have accomplished something like grand, how they move and how they operate. But he was also showing me that I'm just as good as them.
That's incredible, because I think that uniqueness is your fingerprint. Like, even if we don't necessarily know what it is specifically, God is literally the definition of creative. Mm-hmm. He's the first creative. Yeah. So he created all of us to replicate his very being, which is to create. So whether you're creating kindness for somebody, whether you're creating an opportunity for somebody, sharing information, wisdom, whatever it may be, inspiring someone with a piece of art, I think it's like God's thumbprint through us. He's able to kind of, his signature, like his watermark, we're able to be his watermark as we're going and creating. You mentioned your good friend. How did y'all even meet, the one who works for Nike?
Crazy story. I met him in college, man. And he's from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and he went to one of the roughest, like, uber hood high schools, right? So when he came down to New Mexico State University, of course he wants to hang out with like all the Mexicans, right? Those are all his homies.
Right, you gotta find your tribe.
Those are all his homies, up north, right? I remember him picking me up in his Pontiac car, and like at the time I lived in government housing at the time, and fast forward this last year, he sent a private plane for me and my wife to fly to Ohio to see him get married.
Relationship, right?
Yeah, dude.
What? A private plane?
Right?
That's excellent. But that's dope, bro. Like, so you just chartered there. Okay. Yeah. What are some projects you got to be exposed to that either he's worked on, or I think you mentioned some time ago a rare jumpsuit that's not existing in? Yeah.
So I'm blessed enough to have one of two Nike paint suits that exist in the world. So me and another artist. Max Sam is the designer. If you look him up on IG, his IG's Max Sam. And he's currently working on the Jordan Off-White stuff with Virgil. So phenomenal designer, amazing genius, super cool dude. He's just, Nike's so blessed to have him. But just being exposed to certain things. I went to Complex Con with my homie, and I was there to meet Stash, he's like an old school 80s graffiti artist. Super prolific in New York. He's friends with Kaz. He's that deep. Yeah, and they just dropped an Air Force One Stash style, and had reflective print all over it. Super ill. But we were in the Nike experience at the time. Guess who was the keynote speaker? Kendrick Lamar and Kobe Bryant. Yeah, we're like this, like next to K. Dot and Kobe. Rest in peace too. Isn't that nuts?
Wow.
Nuts. So it's like visual, like stimulation overload. Like. Yeah.
So let me get this straight. So you go from being inspired at the age of 6 to having a journey to where you even explained earlier that you've been homeless before.
I lived in my car here in Dallas.
And you were in, what was it, Deep Ellum, or just places giving away free art, trying to do art, grinding.
Yeah, that's all I knew, man.
How in those times, say someone's in that stage now and they don't know where their gift will take them. They have no idea what the journey will look like, but they're right in the middle of giving up or keep going. What do you say to that person who's like right in the middle of, I don't know if I should continue to create or just continue to do what I'm born to do?
I would just say activate hope, man. Like I always correlate, you know, all the blessings that I receive or all the cool stuff that I'm doing now. I would really say like bring it on. Like I'm a fighter, man. Like I'm a warrior, and I grew up poor, so like that was all I knew. So I wasn't in a worse position than I was. But once you remember your grind and where you were, and then collectively, if you grow and cultivate your gift, like that's just gonna help. Those are just stepping stones. You know what I mean? You should never want you should never want it easy. You should never want an easy life. You should definitely want to be challenged and see how God shows up in your life.
Right.
You can do that in every aspect of your life, not just on Sundays or not just when you got everything in control.
Right, when it's convenient.
Like you should be challenged. Like you should definitely be like, God, show up. Will you really do this for me? Will you do? That's how you cultivate belief. You know, once you settle in your heart that you can do it and God's for you, man, like you're good to go. That's when you start streamlining.
And it sounds like that's where relationships show up. That's where resources show up. I'm sure there's all kinds of, you could probably think back on all kinds of situations where you wouldn't have thought possible, but because God brought those people and you were connected, and again, your gift was the place that got you there, but it's you, the person, who sustains those relationships.
Still moves mountains, man. Still moves mountains, but also too, another nugget too is like, read the parable of the 3 servants. Like when he's giving you talents, 2 of the servants multiply, and then 1 hides his talent. Right, and that's money, right? So the master takes back the talent that was hidden, right?
Right, no return. Yeah. Wow, yeah. I mean, I believe, bro, we're all responsible for whatever level of gifting or creativity or specific uniqueness, whether it's kindness, whether it's being patient.
Absolutely.
I mean, even if your gift or your wiring doesn't scream out loud, it's still so important. It's probably more impactful than those who are just so evident and scream out loud.
That is a good point. Also, like, don't get it twisted that gifts are only singing, writing. Like, there's so many different ones. That there's people behind the scenes. There's people who I've learned so much about obedience or being a good friend or honoring someone through my brother, and also through a really good buddy of mine, Manny Guzman, and they've changed my heart in a way because they were flourishing in what they needed to flourish in. Man,
it's really inspiring just hearing your story, like where you've come from, where you are now. Any new pieces or any new plans? Clearly, you got this piece that dropped today and it's going out.
It's like literally going out.
But any new plans? Anything coming up as far as new inspirations or just new things?
Yes. We're still working on a ton of shoes. We have like merch coming out as well.
Okay.
But just closing out on bigger pieces. So there's gonna be a lot of murals around like Dallas, Deep Ellum. A lot of different places here, and then once the country like opens up for good, hopefully, it's gonna happen. We're gonna be touching down in Florida, New York, back in Las Cruces, New Mexico. Wow. Also in San Antonio too, and then Miami's one of the ones we're going to.
Let's go, Miami! Hey, shout out 305, Dade County.
Hey.
that is incredible, bro. Man, I think definitely, like you said, when things kind of open up and. Even with the restrictions now, I think that your gift is so unique. Usually, it'll go beyond your borders. Like when you're restricted, your gift will go beyond you. And I was having a conversation some years ago with a good friend of mine, and we met up at Starbucks, and he got an opportunity to do a spoken word piece with Kanye and Sunday service, and we were just chopping it up. And I was like, this is before that happened, and we were talking, and I was like, I really understand the uniqueness of your gift is so unique that it'll give you the importance before you even get there. Meaning, I was like, your name has been in rooms that your feet have never stood in.
Yeah.
Like literally, it goes ahead of you. And if you stop on being consistent, if you stop on being like doing it don't do it for the likes. Do it because it's right, because it's the thing that you need to be doing.
Agreed.
And that way, when opportunities show up and doors open up, you're ready to just flourish, because this is nothing new for you.
Yeah.
Because you've been at it. You've been in it again. You fell in love with the process.
Yeah, 100%.
Man, that process.
You get rewarded for what you do in private, like in public.
Man, public reward for private grind. I hope y'all took that note. Public reward for private grind. Yep. Yo, so where can people connect or follow you, reach out to you if they want you to do a piece? Can you let them know where they can just connect with you?
Yeah, absolutely. The best one for me is Instagram, because of course, like picture oriented, usually go live or do a live feed, and you'll see my day. Wake up, hang out with my wife and my dogs, then gym, paint, till the sun comes up, and then repeat.
What's your IG handle?
It's Abel Garcia Design, so that's AbelGarciaDesIgns.
Yep, and it'll be probably around right there.
Yeah, somewhere around there. But I'm also on TikTok and Snapchat. But the IG is the most active, and everything else I just tag or forward to. So it's gonna be the same content more or less.
Yo, man, we really hope that you have enjoyed this installment of Perspective, talking about going supernova, talking about your gift, continuing to, use your uniqueness to impact people around you so that you can transform the world around you. So this has been Perspective, y'all. We will catch y'all on the next one. Peace.
Soul leads differently and spirit leads differently. Jesus is our identity. Expect miracles, revelations, and healings.
And when was that?
That was probably around 7 years ago, dude, when I got that. 7 years ago, and it still holds true.
Crazy. That's dope. Bro, so tell me about just some of the signatures and just different things on your wall here.
There just been a ton of people. Of course, there's police have been here. Nike people, designers, rappers, hip hop artists, entrepreneurs. Just friends over the years. They have been here, and I tell everyone too. It's my war room. So everyone who signs it, after I get done painting, I usually pray for every signature here. That love just consumes them, that all of their family be taken care of, and God watches over them.
Man.
Have extremely good.
Man, I know since my painting, the painting you did for us, man, it's just so many things, so many crazy things have happened. Amazing blessings have happened, seriously. So, man, I definitely appreciate it. Your signature's forever engraved in our house for sure.
Oh, I was forever grateful just to experience y'all's wedding, man. It's so powerful, beautiful. Your vows, oh my gosh, I was crying when I saw it. It was really good. It was so powerful,
man. And of course, your wife will be seeing this, so you want to give a shout out to.
I'm so thankful for you, my queen. She inspires me every day. She's just such a joy to be around, and she's really obsessed with everything that she does.
Man, that's what's up. Well, signing off, y'all.